What is the best compliment you ever receive? Oh, best compliment. Did I receive any kind of like a compliment? Ah, did I receive any kind of like a something really a compliment? Probably not. Okay, yeah. I haven't really received any kind of like a something really compliment. Okay, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, there is a kind of like a something reason. All right. So basically, this thing, our human nature is kind of like a something really made a such a way that we have to point out the wrong thing. Okay, yeah. What is actually the wrong thing? All right, yeah. So basically, from the beginning of the human existence, okay, um, humans are kind of like a do some sort of wrong stuff, okay, and because of that wrong stuff the consequences happen. That consequences is not that good. All right, yeah. So basically is this thing we kind of like find out that ki, this is the wrong thing, this is the wrong thing. Okay, um I'm gonna kind of like a something really create a image that you wanted to imagine. All right, it's not really that. Okay, so there are 10 people who is actually standing in a single file. All right, yeah, single line. All right, but there is a one guy who is kind of like a something like disturbing that particular line, or disturbing that particular line, or kind of like a something like that he was standing at different location or different where, or kind of like a like everyone is kind of like a standstill, kind of like a discipline, but that particular guy is actually kind of like a doing something really nonsense stuff. All right, yeah. In that particular, like if you see that particular stuff, you kind of like a judge very fastly that key, like you kind of like a find out there is a wrong in that particular thing, and that wrong thing is that particular guy. Because of that ki everyone is kind of like a follow the proper particular rule of kind of like a discipline, stand still, and kind of like a something really very perfect way. But there is a guy who is kind of like a doing something really abrupt thing, or kind of like a things that doing something really not good. Okay, so our brain picked up that particular thing very quickly, and we found that ki, this is the problem. And we have this kind of like a attitude or kind of like a looking towards the world this way. All right, yeah. And since the beginning of the human existence, it's not kind of like a something like that ki it's evaluate, or it's kind of like a get. No, no, it's from the beginning of the human existence. All right, yeah. So most of the focus are actually gone a particular way that this guy is actually doing not a proper work. All right, yeah. So our mind is kind of like a setup a such a way that finding wrong thing. Okay, yeah. So that's why most of the people are kind of like a telling you that okay, this is the wrong thing, this is the wrong thing, this is the wrong thing, this is the wrong thing. Okay, yeah. In that particular, the example that I wanted to mention you earlier, in that particular example, all those 10 people are kind of like a standing in the line, and only one thing that we think at the first time that we see that particular line is that okay, this is the guy is actually doing something wrong. Okay, so we are finding the wrong thing first. Okay, and that's it. Okay, like basically if we kind of like eliminate that particular thing, or kind of like a solve that particular problem, then probably we don't really have any kind of like a something like problem. Okay, yeah. But our brain is kind of like a forget that ki we have to compliment all other 9 people too, because all those 9 people are also kind of like a standing still. They can do kind of like a doing some sort of stupid stuff, that kind of like a man who is actually doing that particular stuff in that particular single file. But all those 9 men are not kind of like a doing that particular stuff. So probably we didn't really compliment them because of that ki we feel like that कि the things that they do is kind of like a their job, and they are doing this very well, so we shouldn't supposed to do the compliment. All right, yeah. So basically is this thing that ki if you are kind of like a something person who is actually following the rule, and you are kind of like a something really like following the rule or go with the flow or something really that kind of like a something person, so most of the other people thinks that ki you are kind of like a do the way that everyone does it. All right, yeah. So you are not should supposed to be deserve a compliment, and probably giving the compliment is a kind of like a something required, kind of like a effort. Yeah, it really required effort. Like pointing out the wrong thing is doesn't really require any effort. We just think that ki, this is the wrong, that's it. All right, yeah. But giving the compliment to other people is really required effort, really required that kind of like a change of heart to inside of you, that you have to give them, you are doing this thing good, you have to give the compliment. No one does that. Like basically 100 out of 2 people will does that. But our mentality, our mindset is not kind of like a somethingly create a such a way that we should supposed to give the compliment. No, definitely not. So that's why we don't really give the compliment. Very less people are kind of like a giving the compliment, and those who are kind of like a giving the compliment, they understand the value of having the compliment, having the kind of like a something like that key, the importance of that particular thing. Okay, yeah. But it kind of like a something very different from person to person, activity to activity. All right, yeah. Let me example to you. So there is a guy who is actually kind of like a went to audition, a dance audition. Okay, yeah. And he was kind of like a dancing in front of judges. All right, yeah. So when he was dancing, he danced really good, really great. The one of the best possible way that he was doing a dance, he was doing a dance. All right, yeah. In that particular moment, the that character or that particular person deserve to be a compliment, and on that particular moment the judges will give the compliment. Why? Because he was the only one actually doing the dance. So basically the judges will say that ki, the things that you do is really good, really great. All right, yeah. So judges give the compliment. All right. But now I'm gonna kind of like a change the little bit of different. Okay, change little bit of something different. Instead of one man, there is a kind of like a 10 man. Okay, who is actually dancing in front of judges. Okay, and same thing. Okay, that key, all those 10 people are dancing the one of the best possible way that they could dance. They are actually dancing. Okay, so there are 10 people. All right. So now the judges will give the compliment or not. Okay, yeah. So first of all, let me tell you one thing. When you add multiple people, okay, and when you kind of like see that multiple people are actually dancing, your attention is kind of like a somethingly separate from one people to another people, and you are finding a mistakes. What do you mean by that? All right. Means by that ki a kind of like a something like when there is a one person is actually doing a dance, you don't really have any kind of like a some certain things to judge or some certain thing. Like your attention is not divert, you have only one person focusing on doing it that, and your attention is actually focusing on that only one person. But at this moment there are 10 person, and probably there are number of people would add in that particular number. The 10 people are actually doing the same dance, but there is a some certain little bit difference between the dance steps. Okay, and this is kind of like a something natural thing. Example, there is a 10 person who's actually dancing the same thing or same steps, but the execution of the dance is little bit different from person to person. And you actually seen that particular stuff. Like whatever the dance video that you wanted to watch, in that particular dance video, all the people are actually doing the same dance, but there is a kind of like a you spot the some certain significant people actually doing the dance very differently, or kind of like a doing the same step but very differently. Okay, and you are pointing out that thing very fastly. हाँ कि इसने अच्छा नहीं किया, इसने अच्छा नहीं किया. But you don't really give the kind of like a judge because of that कि entire focus are kind of like a first two people, because in the particular dance video the two people are kind of like a something main, so that most of the focus grab that two people. Okay, so we don't really kind of like a like basically focus on that, or background dancer, we don't really focus on that. But in that particular audition there is no kind of like a focus, there is no spotlight, there is nothing really at all those 10 people are actually dancing, and all those 10 people are lit very properly. Okay, yeah. So we could see all those 10 people of faces and the dance steps and everything. So and after the complete of their kind of like a dance thing, the people, the judges will kind of like a judge that particular thing. On that particular thing, they point out that the things that you do, like this guy is actually doing something very differently. This guy is done something very differently. They judge that particular thing, and not only the judge, like as a normal person could judge that particular thing too, that this person didn't really did dance that well. Okay, because in that particular dance situation there are 10 people. Okay, 10 people are actually doing the same steps, but the problem is that we are kind of like having a comparison. Means like that, at the early example there is a one guy who is actually dancing, so we don't really have any comparison or kind of like frame of reference. Okay, that what kind of like a something dance look like. But when the 10 people are actually doing the dance, we have frame of reference, we have comparison, we have this thing that ki इसने अच्छा किया, इसने अच्छा नहीं किया, this guy did something good, this guy didn't really not good, not did something good. So we have kind of like a something like comparison, and we compare that inside our brain. While they are doing dance, we are kind of like comparing things कि हाँ इसने अच्छा नहीं किया, इसने अच्छा नहीं किया, इसने अच्छा नहीं किया. So when the judge are kind of like telling this thing that कि हाँ you are not doing this thing, the this person did something really differently, this person did something very differently. Okay, so in that particular situation the judges will judge the particular action and kind of like giving them what is actually the wrong thing in that particular situation. Okay, yeah, if the judges have kind of like a like something really like, just like example is that they have like having the camera or kind of like a something that like they would kind of like a giving them compliment. Because of that ki in the particular audition is actually record. Okay, so basically judges will give the compliment. But if there is no camera, if there is nothing really at all, or if there is no one is actually seen them, then probably judges will kind of like a judge that ki हाँ this is the wrong thing, and they will not give the compliment. Definitely, even if they are judges, they will not give the compliment. They will say this is the wrong thing, 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 you have to fix that. Okay, next step. So this is what they do, they will not give the compliment. So let me tell you one thing, getting the compliment in this world is almost like getting some sort of like a prize or some sort of like that, a lucky draw. Literally a lucky draw. Because like criticism you will get so easily, like very rapidly, and as also like the criticism that you get from the people that you know very close to you. But the compliment is like a very rare, very rare, and our mentality is not actually built by giving the compliment. It really required kind of like a something shift your heart or soul, our thought process, that ki other people also really required to give the compliment to. People don't really did that, no one does that. Yeah, almost like 100 out of 2 people will do the compliment, 98% people will not do the compliment, will not give the compliment. And that is somewhat true. This is the true fact. So that's why I'm gonna say you regarding about this question. The question says that ki have you where like what is actually the best compliment that you get in your life? In my entire life, um did I did something really wrong thing or right thing? I don't know, right wrong thing I'm not really sure. But is that key like I haven't really get any kind of like a something a compliment in my life. By the way, I haven't really done any kind of like a something very good stuff, but still I don't really get that compliment. Huh, but as also I'm gonna mention couple of things. Okay, if you are kind of like a something person who achieve a kind of like a something very great thing in your life, like a Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, like Shah Rukh Khan. So basically, for the Shah Rukh Khan, getting a compliment is kind of like a something really very easy or kind of like a something usual. Okay, yeah, because the Shah Rukh Khan compliment is like yeah okay yeah मैं अच्छा एक्टिंग करता हूँ, अच्छा डांस करता हूँ, अच्छा ये करता हूँ, वो करता हूँ. It's kind of like a something like that. The people who achieve a particular some certain thing that most of people didn't really achieve that, for those people achieving compliment is yeah it's kind of like a something like overwhelming, like everyone does it and basically yeah. But in the normal day-to-day life, normal people will not get that particular compliment. All right, so you get it now. Okay, so the people who achieve some sort of significant amount of stage or kind of like a something significant amount of kind of like a something like stature or kind whatever it is. Okay, just I'm gonna give you the example as a Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, yeah. So like basically you are the Shah Rukh Khan, probably you don't like you always get the compliment. Okay, even if even if you kind of like did something really wrong thing, but still most of people say हाँ आपने अच्छा किया sir, because of the like basically the image that he created by the Shah Rukh Khan. So yeah, right. So the question is that ki, have you ever kind of like achieve or receive any kind of like a something like compliment in your entire life? Well, I haven't really achieved any kind of like a something like stage like a Shah Rukh Khan, or I haven't really achieved kind of like a something like significant amount of particular stuff that most of people are kind of like a say that ki tune acha kiya. No, I haven't really achieved that. So I haven't really get that kind of like a something like compliment in my life ever. Like I try to imagine some sort of thing, but everyone is actually pointing out that ki, you are doing something really wrong, you are doing something really wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And somehow I accept that particular thing, and accept that ki, I never will be get compliments. So yeah, all right, yeah. But by the way, I do compliment myself. Okay, yeah, like if I did something really very crazy stuff that like basically na, like when I'm doing my work, like because I'm doing this artifact. Okay, so I talk to myself a lot. Okay, and basically I know myself a lot. So basically when I did kind of like a some sort of stuff which is kind of like a really difficult, and I did that particular thing, so I kind of like a give the compliment to myself that ki ha, the things that you did was good, is kind of like a worth to be compliment to you. So yeah, besides me, like I don't know at this moment. Okay, by the way, today's date is 30 August 2024. Till this date now I haven't really get that much compliment probably. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. All right, so this is it. I should supposed to be end here. Thank you.